Hi, welcome to Red Pill Diaries. This episode I want to speak about something I kind of just put two and two together with, and hopefully I can explain it quite well. So it's you have human nature, and then one other thing I was thinking of is the nature of humanity. Let's link this together with yin yang, right? This, if you look, where good has to kind of occupy the same space as evil, and that as good people, let's look through everything from what we know through history, history affected by religion, all the power structures, history affected by religion, history affected by emperors, corrupted religion, or overbearing religion, organized religion, governments, overbearing governments again, any nefarious control structure we've had throughout history is the one thing that's always held us back. Human beings should have been intelligent as they are now for the last 150,000 years. We haven't really changed genetically that much, so we had the intellect that would have been able to get us to where we are now, for example, and look how fast we've moved in the last 100 years. So at any stage in history, we could have made these leaps and bounds from the Iron Age, which we've obviously gone through more than once. The Iron Age and the Stone Age we've gone through more than once throughout history, right? So we could have already been at this stage many other times, and probably have, for all we know. But the fact that we have been reset back to this level, possibly multiple times, shows that we've always most likely incurred this same issue, which is you have assholes and then you have good people, right? And then among both sides, you've got smart and dumb. Fair enough. Let's forget about the dumb of both sides, right? It's the smart people on the evil side, the asshole side, that hold humanity back. It could be for personal gain, but sometimes we see evil people doing things that they don't even gain out of it. They just love to screw things up, right? And then you have the good people screwing it up because they always have to have this moral high ground bullshit where, like I'll point to the movies, because you see it in movies all the time. The evil person does something horrible. He even kills someone that person loves. The good person comes along. They're in a position of ability to exact revenge or retribution, and they don't do it. No, I'm better than that. And then later on, the person comes back and causes them more issue again, and they end up dying or getting killed at the end, this asshole person. But meanwhile, they cause so much more drama in between, and they hindered and they stopped good things from happening. And I think from these stories that we have, and his story, we can surmise that this is just going to keep on happening to us. And within every structure that you have, whether it's a business, whether it's a country, whether it's humanity, the human race overall, this keeps happening over and over again. And the obvious solution here would be to break away factions. Like if you have, let's say, a group of 100 scientists, right? And you send them out into space, and they've all got the same mindset. They can get away from the rest of humanity. They might be able to make leaps and bounds of progress, and then one person's going to come along, and for whatever reason they've got some psychotic thing in their mind. They want to hold the progress back. Purge them, send them back to where they come from, just be away from them. This whole yin-yang idea that we have to somehow occupy the same space as our opposites for what I have no idea why, is the thing that's holding us back. And if you look at this modern political correctness and this woke bullshit that's going on lately, it's again instilling this into people's minds that when someone's just an absolute nightmare drama queen or drama king, whatever, and they're causing shit in your life, it's always this constant forgiveness, and it's like we need to just put aside this bullshit nobility, noble, being I'm too noble to tell that person to fuck off. I need to still be around them instead of forming a group of like-minded people and getting the fuck away. And the more I'm thinking about this, is the family that I've got out of my life and the people who used to be my friends that I've got out of my life, I'm feeling a lot better. Life is a lot easier. And when you want to understand something in a macro scale, you just look at the micro scale, which is my own life, and then apply it in a larger scaled out version, right? If people were doing this on a regional scale or a national scale, this is where the progress would start to come in. All these people working towards whatever goals they have without the hindrance of the system. This is what we currently have right now. You look at the amount of things that can't take place in the world because governments are too busy trying to hold people back with their taxes and with their, I know people won't like this, especially on the truther type people will, in truther community generally, people don't like the what do you call it again, the stuff that Elon Musk is up to. But let's say, for example, technology to create smarter beings. Let's say that because human beings have pretty much remained genetically the same for so many years. Well, if you believe the science, which might not be correct. Let's say we've been around for 150, 180,000 years. Well, we haven't really changed that much. So maybe we're at an evolutionary dead end, and all species reach this evolutionary dead end, whether it be us dying off and then the cat species coming up, or us dying off and a species of platypus that somehow get a few million years of evolution to become kind of humanoid like us. Maybe they all reach this same point, maybe it's a natural IQ limit. And maybe the way we get around that is by doing this kind of DNA research that's outlawed everywhere, which is probably still happening behind the scenes. I've said before in other episodes. I'm sure it would be, because no country ever lets another country get the edge. Well, that's if the politics that we're shown is true. It also might not be. And therefore, all the technology they show them having may not exist. I just doubt it, that's all. I doubt that they're harvesting our energy to produce little more than what we already have available commercially, right? That's why I think it's, when you see these things about flying saucers and all that sort of stuff, tic-tac kind of UFOs, like I've had in my other videos that I've talked about a few times, and many others have got videos, although the one I put out was actually a lot clearer, I think, than a lot of the other crap that people give credit to. But anyway, I think those things would be real because we constantly find out about technology that governments kept from us. And, why would they give us everything? Well, they've never done it before. Why would they do it now? As far as just building some narrative that they have a lot more than what we think. I'm rambling on there. So basically, the movie Elysium, for example, where they had that thing where it's up in the sky and they're trying to break themselves away. They paint that situation as being wrong. How dare they go away and live in the sky somewhere away from the people? Well, why not? It's the only way that you're going to proceed, is to get the fuck away from the mainstream that insist on just breeding like fucking bunny rabbits or like cockroaches, so that they can just fill existence with petty endeavors. Well, did you get food? Like for example, the whole situation that you'll have in parts of Africa about people are starving. Yeah, but people have always been starving. And if you just keep on having more and more kids, your issue will always be, how do we just stop starving? If you stop having so many kids and actually think, right, what can I sustain? Can I sustain a family of 12 kids? Maybe if I have absolutely no life. Again, looking at the micro scale to understand the macro scale. So, if I have 4 kids, could I cope with that? Yeah, a lot easier. Still probably quite hard to find the time to start innovating stuff and coming up with new technology. So this is how you look at it on a grand scale. And this is where a lot of these people who say, yeah, the world could fit a lot more people. I don't give a fuck if it can fit more people. Why does it need to fit billions and trillions? Why don't we get to the stage of even understanding that this is a planet that we can actually get off first? And if it is, then think about having 10 billion, 20 billion people, because then we can actually start populating or seeding the universe. Maybe that's our purpose, is to seed the whole universe. And I have said that in a number of episodes over the last 3 years. So, we'll never get that chance if we don't break away from the control structures and the people that are just basically Agent Smith, matrix agents who hold you back. They can be family, they can be friends, they can be the system, but there's something that is holding us back intentionally as people individually, as societies, as cultures, and everything else. And when I see all this bullshit stuff on TV, this kind of woke culture, this survival of the weakest is part of it. I've spoken about many times too. This dysgenics is the term for that. Now, see, I'm not one for eugenics, but if I have a choice between dysgenics and eugenics, I will choose eugenics every time. Why? Because with our technology, the one thing that we do, technology crossed with oversympathetic culture and irrationally oversympathetic culture leads to survival of the weakest. And that's where we are right now. We're never going to get anywhere if this, because that's one of the mechanisms to hold back on a macro scale mankind. You let the weakest survive. Well, not even that. It's favoring the weakest ahead of the strong. It's having your schools cater to the dumbest kid in the class instead of the smartest, and the dumbest kid has to catch up. It's pretty obvious if you think about it. So what we're really doing is we're nurturing negativity. And by when you let people off, like turn the other cheek and all this sort of stuff. Again, the Bible could tie into this as well, and I'm sure other religions would as well. And it comes to how they treat people who are just assholes, just evil pieces of shit. But you've always meant to let them off, even though they wouldn't let you off, even though they would have robbed you of everything you had and left you for dead. You're not meant to do that thing because you're meant to be better than that. Bullshit. If someone is about to take your life, or someone would have destroyed you and your whole family, and they're just nothing compared to what you are, and yet and not just that, to boot, they're a horrible person as well, then you are a fucking dick if you furnish them, clothe them, and let them carry on. This whole turn the other cheek, be better, it's a one-way ticket to a fucking Darwin Award. And this is the thing that we actually need to get over. There probably are. Now, this probably is happening. So this is another little side thing here. When you think about the 1%, this is what is probably going on. I would kind of support the whole concept of the not even 1%, the 0.0001%, if it wasn't for the fact that we're all seen to be pedophiles. If they're all actually healthy, normal people. Because remembering that most people in society, if you're anything like me, I can't stomach them. I can't stomach their mental pygmy nature of most human beings. They're so horrendously dumb. For example, I remember having these two Canadian girls, flatmates of mine, because I brought up the aid thing in Africa before, right? And this is not just attacking Africa here. I'm just saying it's nothing to do with culture or race or anything. It's to do with the aid that happens over there, right? And when people can't look after themselves, what you're meant to be doing is the only help you can give is to teach a man to fish, not fish for him. If you fish for him, you'll be fishing for them for the rest of your life. And as they have more and more and more kids, you'll have to dedicate your whole life to bringing up someone else's future army, potential army that's going to be attacking your one child that you had the time to have because you were too busy looking after their 50 kids, right? That's it in a kind of nutshell, right? So I was explaining to these girls and they thought I was an absolute monster for saying that, one, that if we were going to give aid to these countries, the aid should be laced with contraceptive. Because if you really want to help someone and the goal is about stopping starvation, well, one thing I just mentioned the armies before. If you feed someone who could potentially become your enemy in the future, you're potentially killing your future offspring, right? Or your descendants. Unless you say that we're all one mankind. Yeah, fair, whatever. But just remember that if they are intellectually lower than you, or for whatever reason, like they might have been higher than you 10 decades ago, like in this case of the Muslim world where they came up with mathematics when we were fucking living in basically like Stone Age men. It's not the point. It's the fact that we're trying to bring mankind forward. And if that one path to get mankind to go forward is to favor your own, or favor your own kind, not even your own race, your own kind, people who are in a I wouldn't say educated world, but in a world that actually has access to knowledge and access to misinformation, but a world where the truth can be found if you're looking for it and applying intelligence, right? Because I understand that obviously the Stone Age world could have had people who were just as much wiser than we are, even if we're sitting there sucking all the information from the internet and trying to filter out all the crap as well. But my point is that these girls, they were basically saying is that I was a horrible human being because I would have actually said, if you can't put any contraceptive in the aid, don't give them any aid at all. Because what you're doing is, because of your inability to accept that someone's going to be suffering until they die, one person, or let's say 4 people, right? Instead, you're willing to feed them long enough to create 40 people suffering, and then 400. And their cognitive dissonance wouldn't allow them to see that, as we all know is very common in the bleeding heart libertarian left. And this is back in 2004 that was. So yeah, Canada was right in the swing of that. These 2 Canadian chicks were just sucked in by this whole crap, but obviously very irrational, overly emotionally incontinent people, right? So there they are saying, I can't believe you're saying this. And I can't believe that you're saying it's okay to multiply the suffering and somehow feel better about yourself. I think that's, and then I started pretending that I'm emotionally incontinent. Well, that's absolutely disgusting. Just so they're like, what? But how can you? But I'm morally superior. How can you be saying this about me? Anyway, I won't ramble on about that too much, but I think you get my point. Sometimes you need to, usually you need to apply rationale, and it should come before your emotional outburst, the way that you feel about things, because you can even apply rationality to emotions, and it's something people who are consumed with emotion and they have no emotional control at all. I don't mean someone who suppresses it. You don't have to have emotions. You can have emotions, but just not be ruled by them. You can have emotions and not put them ahead of fucking common sense logic, So these are the kind of ways, and indoctrination by modern TV shows and also religion, and also culture in the past, that would be like, no, the rules of engagement, rules of war, fuck the rules. When someone's just trying to screw you up, I'm not going to read through a law book when I know that given the chance, this guy would have destroyed my whole existence and everything that came from me and everything good in the world, and he would have ushered in pure evil. If you can press a button and get rid of him, do it. If you can get the fuck away from him, do it. Because if you don't, those people will always be hindering you the first chance they get. It's like that whole thing about the scorpion and the frog, and the frog's back. The scorpion stings the frog. It's my nature, blah, blah, blah. Same thing. You fundamentally can't change people. Now, here's the thing. Even if you can, fine. But let them go change by themselves. You shouldn't have to feel duty-bound to be around these parasitic leeches and evil people. Just get the fuck away from them. Tell them why you got away from them. Yeah, give them a self-help book, whatever the fuck it is. But go do it in your own time, away from any ability to affect or control my life. And believe me, mankind will start moving leaps and bounds ahead. And we'll find out what the nature of this whole fucking thing is that we're living in. Because I don't want to even get into the argument as, whether we're even in a simulation or when we're in space or if there's a flat earth. It's nothing to do with that. It's got to do with wherever the fuck we are, getting to a stage that's a lot further than we are now. Because, quite frankly, we're nowhere compared to where we should be. If we've had technology, look at the city of Petra, for example. You look at the kind of technology they had in some of these places to cut these massively large stones and move them around. If you were to make the kind of progress we have since the ages that we were able to do that, we would already be gallivanting through the stars if they all exist, which I'm pretty sure they do, but I might be wrong, and I'm not going to have that fucking argument because it's irrelevant again, but we could be a lot further ahead than where we are. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, really. Let me think about this, if there's any other... Yeah, basically, if you apply this to any drama you see on TV, in real life, in religious texts, there's always these bad actors that come in, and they always get way more chances, and the good people don't get any chances. Well, that actually is reflected in real life. Art imitates life, right? We can't keep on doing things the same way all the time. I'm not going to be indoctrinated to, put it this way, as I said before, I've cut people out of my life. I feel like a massive weight is off my shoulders. Life has never been that difficult to live. I've gone through difficult phases in my life, I'm sure we all have, but usually that's because of outside influences. For example, you're going to get a job and someone stands in your way. I had years ago, went to get a job in a ski field, and I found out years later it was this horrible bitch who was the boss there that just didn't like me. Simple as that. So she blocked me from working next to my friends on this place. Turo, what's it called? An Awakuni area in New Zealand. Anyway, that's besides the point. But, well, not really besides the point. It's a good point. Someone blocked me from getting ahead. If they just... Success often is not just about you putting in the effort. Sometimes it's about a person who could have been a prick standing aside or deciding not to hinder you. And this is what it really is. If you can identify, like, even your job may not be the person who actually makes the scientific discoveries, but if we're living as a kind of a collective to make mankind go forward, not even just mankind, to make genetic carbon-based life form move forward, then maybe your role is to be the watchful eye, watching behind three geniuses for people who are actually scumbags who would hinder them. And you somehow take them out, or you somehow neutralize them so that they cannot affect those people who are producing great work that you could never produce. But you have got the smarts to see that there's people who are just going to hold them back, stop them having their way. If this sort of thing happened more, and if we weren't so bound by the injustice systems of the world, which are totally designed to protect evil, vindicate evil people of their crimes, and ensnare good, instead of the common law and natural law that we have, if we weren't bound by these, well, these are some of the main things that have kept mankind behind. Take the Copernicus, for example. Again, don't want to get into an argument whether you believe the whole sun being center of the solar system, or whether we're in an orb or not. I'm just saying, if that's true, let's just pretend it's not true, and it's a story. Still, he basically gets put to death because of his beliefs, which then brings science forward, right? For that part alone, I would say it's more likely it's true than what it's not, because we know that's the nature of humanity. I'll leave it there so I don't keep repeating myself, but hopefully you get the point.